This is a quick guide for the One Night in Karazhan achievement in World of Warcraft, which requires speaking to the image of Medivh in the mythic-only Return to Karazhan dungeon. In order for the image to appear, you'll need to activate a bunch of crystals within a set amount of time. Please note that all of the points in this guide are from a ranged DPS perspective. Before your run begins, make sure everyone is ready, as the first timer will begin as soon as the front door is opened. You will have 8 minutes to reach the first crystal, which is in the Opera Hall after beating the Opera event encounter. You'll want to pull all of the trash from the start all the way to the Opera Hall and talk to Barnes to begin the RP as soon as possible. AoE the trash down, while avoiding the pennies from heaven swirls on the ground. You'll also want to interrupt the Shrieking Terror's terrifying wails where possible, as having a fair go off in such tight quarters can be fairly disastrous. For the most part, the large trash pools are more difficult than the bosses themselves, so use your cooldowns wisely throughout. You'll also want to save heroism and not pop it on the Opera event, as you'll need this more for Morose. After the Opera boss, you want to group up all of the ghostly understudies backstage and AoE them down. Stand in the spotlights where possible, as they will increase your damage done by 50%. At the bottom of the ramp, we popped invisibility potions to avoid this room of trash. If your group is fairly geared, you can pull them all and AoE them down, but make sure you interrupt the Firelands portals as much as possible. In the seating area of the Opera Hall, you notice the first purple crystal near the stage. Get your tank to pull all of the spectral patrons and AoE them all down. Make sure you face away from the flashlight ability should you pull any skeletal ushers as well, or simply stand at max range. If you've got abilities such as Feign Death or Vanish, you can use this here to remove yourself from combat and click the crystal sooner. Once clicked, you'll get a buff indicating a further 8 minutes to the next crystal. Continue down the guest chambers hallway on the left, pulling the entire hallway and AoEing it down. Turn left into the room before the Maiden of Virtue, and either pull the whole room or do it in 2 chunks. You have to be careful here as there are mobs that mind control. Again, you can pop Feign Death to click the crystal quickly, adding a further 5 minutes to your Medivh's Echo buff. Head back down the hallway which you came before, back out into the banquet hall. You don't actually have to kill anything you pull up top here, as you can jump down into Morose's room and they'll simply reset after a few seconds. You want to pull most of the room in the banquet hall, however there is one arcane warden in the far left corner which can be left alone. Do your best to interrupt volatile charges here from the wardens to avoid unnecessary tank damage. As you're completing a speed run, it's best to ignore the ghost traps and just zerg all the adds down on the boss fight. Kill them down as quickly as possible using heroism here, while avoiding the large AoE damage and interrupting the mana drain ability. Once the adds are down, Morose will go down very quickly and easily. Once he's dead, click the crystal on the platform to add a further 5 minutes to your timer, and make sure you grab the keys dropped by Morose. From here, you'll be heading out to the old entrance of the Kara raid, the Gatehouse. Take a couple of lefts into the servants' quarters where all the spiders are. You want to make sure the spiders are facing away from your group as they hit pretty hard. Make sure you avoid as many webs as possible to not spawn any extra adds, and you can use abilities such as Disengage or Heroic Leap to get into the centre of the webs quickly without pulling anything extra to click the crystal and add a further 5 minutes to the timer. Click on the portal to return to the start of the instance, and this time you'll be heading up the other way on the left. You can pull most of the banshees on the way up, but you want to interrupt the terrifying wails where possible to avoid unnecessary fears. Pull each mana confluence pack once at a time if possible, and interrupt arcane barrages when they're cast. Kill the curator down as normal, using heroism on the evocation phase as you normally would, should you not have the exhaustion debuff. Once down, you'll find the final purple crystal underneath the body of the curator. This will give you a new 5-minute debuff called Medivh's Presence. You want to head back down to the tower entrance, and head out left to the Master's Terrace to find the image of Medivh. Talk to him and the achievement will pop here. This will also start the RP for the Nightbane fight, which we're going to go through here also. You want your tank to pick the boss up, facing him towards the outside wall of the tower. This will stop the rest of your group getting breathed on, as well as avoiding the tail swipes. Your ranged DPS and healer will want to stand at max range on one side of the terrace, as you'll get charred earth fire pools spawn underneath you. Once it pops, simply move to the opposite side, and repeat diagonally whenever these appear. The most important ability to keep your eye on is Ignite Soul. When the debuff expires after 9 seconds, the affected player's remaining health will be inflicted on all other players. If you get this debuff, make sure you stand in the charred earth to reduce your health as much as manageable. Around the 20% mark is good. You'll want to interrupt reverberating shadows whenever it is cast, as this will deal avoidable damage to your tank. At 50%, Nightbane will fly up into the sky and Bone Curse will spawn. This is where you want to pop Heroism to get it down as quickly as possible to bring Nightbane back down to the ground. You'll want to continue moving as previously to avoid filling up too much of the terrace with charred earth. Once the boss is back down, you'll want to head towards the other end of the terrace to give you plenty of room to work with. All of the abilities from first phase continue here, as well as a bellowing raw fear. Continue killing the boss down, and one of your party members will get the Smouldering Emberworm mount. Congratulations on completing one of the most fun challenges in the game currently. I've also uploaded a Return to Karazhan boss guide, as well as a full uncut version of this run in my other videos. If you found this video helpful, feel free to hit the like button, or subscribe if you'd like to keep up with loads more achievement guides coming soon. Thanks for watching.